So I did a video yesterday, a whole thing, or the day before. I reacted to MrBeast going on Oomphville's show or podcast thing. It wasn't a podcast. It was just for them. It was an interview. There we go. Interview. That's the right word. And now, MrBeast has responded to the crypto allegations from that show. Let's see what CoffeeZilla has to say about that.
I secretly interviewed MrBeast after he refused to answer my questions in my investigation a few days ago. Now we have Oomphville, who MrBeast decided to do the tell-all interview with, and I was able to ask a handful of follow-up questions. I think it was 2 or 3 questions at the end of the video through Oomphville. I just wrote up a Google Doc because I had a feeling that they weren't going to be properly addressed. So we're going to go over those responses a bit out of order, in the order that I think is the most...
That's cool that it was secretly CoffeeZilla, and Oomphville probably didn't tell MrBeast that until maybe afterward. But if he didn't, then he's finding out now.
Interesting, actually, because unfortunately, because of how it was filmed, and then the follow-up questions were asked. They're at the very end of the video, and I really feel like they actually matter a lot. It's kind of a shame because I think a lot of the questions will not be seen by most people because it's a 2.5-hour interview. Probably most people only saw sort of the very casual answering of the crypto allegations, sort of more towards...
Nah, bro, I watched that whole thing, and I thought that everybody who talked shit about MrBeast is kind of screwed, even though I don't like MrBeast, and I think a lot of what he did was garbage, and I think a lot of what he said in that interview was garbage, but none of that matters to the masses. I think he's gonna be just as successful as ever. Right back to being #1 guy on social media. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Especially dogpacking that Rosanna Pancino chick. Screwed everything up by being disingenuous and being liars. Talking about information that was wrong. And then bringing up the Lunchly stuff, which just kind of had nothing to do with anything, and wanting no clout, wanting not to be a content creator, just wanting to do what was right for the humanity, and then becomes a content creator like everybody else. Like, come on.
The middle of the story. So we're going to go through this step by step. Obviously, I wish I had been able to ask these questions myself. Unfortunately, that's just not how it worked out. So we're going to go through this. There's a lot that I'm really not happy with. I think the answers were not satisfying. They were not good. There's a few times where we get...
Most of MrBeast's answers were, I'm stupid and let somebody else handle it, so it's not my fault because they messed up. But it's still your accounts and stuff, so, like, it doesn't matter. You knew it happened, you didn't say nothing, and you're still letting it happen. Like, come on.
Close to an admission, and then we just kind of back off from it. From MrBeast's perspective. So we'll go over it. I'm not interested in 12 more responses. This will be kind of my final story on this. Honestly, I wish I could have been able to do this in my one story about the MrBeast stuff, but of course, he didn't answer my questions then. He's now answered a few of them now, and so I'd like to just go over it since we were mentioned explicitly. This is the first question I want to start with, which is the most important one in my opinion, which is the question of who controlled the wallet. MrBeast, as we know, has maintained that it was a fund. And as I showed in my investigation, there's a lot of evidence for that. But the story gets more complicated when you see a podcast on Impulsive where MrBeast talks about at least some of those buying and selling decisions seem to have been made by him.
On a podcast with Logan Paul about CryptoPunks, you talk about a call you had with Mr. Gary where you claim to have bought and or sold CryptoPunks, but then later decided to roll the money into VFriends. And this is all like video, obviously.
I bought a bunch. I bought quite a few. I bought multiple ones. I've already sold quite a few of them. So then I rolled the money into VFriends.
And this trading activity all happened within the Wu-Tang wallet, which we talked about last night.
Yes.
So if it was your decision, if semantically, if what you're talking about on the podcast, if it was your decision, your trading decision to buy and sell the punks or VFriends, even though you didn't press the buttons, was it actually your decision? It still, to me, would mean that you had control of those trading decisions.
Yeah, these are good questions. Actually, I'm glad we're doing this follow-up thing so we can also just put all this stuff out there. So, yes, I did say that in the podcast, and I obviously did not press the buttons like I've been saying. I didn't pick what punks to buy or anything. Gary Vee, like I said on that podcast, called me and a bunch of other people, said crypto punks are the next big thing. I thought it was pretty crazy. But, the first thing I did right after that is just called the guy in charge of the fund who invested my money and it's other people's money as well, and just said, hey, Gary Vee seemed very passionate about these punks. You should look into it. If it makes sense, buy it. And so...
that seems like he's still got control of his fund, which is just a wallet. Sounds like he still got control.
He did the research, picked what punks to buy, bought them. That's kind of how...
That sounds like BS. That sounds like BS to me. Because I don't think anybody knows what crypto punks are. And even if this guy looked into him, MrBeast told him to. And are you going to tell MrBeast that he's dumb? Are you going to tell him no?
high level how it went. But, if he was like, oh, this is a shit investment, then he wouldn't have bought them. So...
All right, I cannot tell you how weird this answer is in hindsight, because you basically have to completely disbelieve what Jimmy says in 2021 to believe this story, where he got this call from Gary Vee and he calls Jason. He goes, if this fits within our trading strategy in the fund, maybe buy some. But you rewind a little bit. MrBeast is on Twitter saying, I bought this CryptoPunk. He's
saying I, me. But then he's saying, not me.
On the podcast saying, I bought multiple CryptoPunks.
That I bought a bunch.
He's on the podcast saying, I sold.
I've already sold quite a few of them.
I rolled the money into VFriends.
So then I rolled the money into VFriends.
And then even more crazy, he says he specifically bought certain CryptoPunks because he liked their attribute, like the cigarette one. He's like, I like the cigarette CryptoPunk.
The cigarettes, because I thought that was an interesting attribute.
But here he's saying, oh, I didn't even know which ones to buy.
I don't know which punks to buy or which ones we should buy.
Yeah, that sounds like a straight up lie. I mean, I still don't care very much, but it does. He's gonna care to CoffeeZilla because he's looking into actual legal stuff. But I just kind of don't care about the money legal stuff. I just care about the manipulation of regular people. If he talked regular people into buying them and then they were shit, that's when I start to feel bad about it. I'm like, I kind of don't care about this. But if he broke the law, he broke the law, and I want to know about it.
It's a good investment.
Like real special ones.
I had some that like whatever 20, 30x.
What's a
we bought a lot with like the cigarettes because I thought that was an interesting attribute.
Well, which is it? I feel like if he's telling the truth now, then he was just blatantly lying then. And if he was telling the truth then, he's blatantly lying now or just trying to distance himself from this. I feel like I understand why, because the more he was kind of directing Jason, obviously the worse all of this stuff looks. But I think it's impossible to get away from the fact that MrBeast in 2021 was clearly in some type of contact with this fund that was not normal. This is not a normal, I'm going to give my money to a financial advisor and I don't make any of the decisions. He clearly was directing some of the strategy to say, hey, go get CryptoPunks, and then to go move your money into VFriends because Gary Vee says so. For Gary Vee to then give MrBeast a gift to the fund, like, it's all very strange. And I feel like the frustration here is the fact that anytime there's a problem, it's all the fund. I did nothing. I had nothing to do with it, etc. But when you actually look at these investments were all talking about Jimmy. Like, it wasn't about, oh, there's multiple stakeholders, it's Jason Williams. No. It was all MrBeast. And that's the criticism that I think he's not engaging with here. So this will matter a lot in our next part, which is about Super. One of the worst things that I think is sort of against him, where this tweet happens while his fund had been selling and continued to sell. That's our follow-up question, and you'll...
Yeah, let's see this one, because I was kind of disagreeing with the masses on this one. That I thought it was like a non-issue.
See some more of this.
But also I was listening to MrBeast on an interview that was kind of glazing him a little bit.
It's not me, it's all the fund.
The Supercoin tweet, for context, on May 12th, 2021, you, MrBeast, tweeted in response to a It was an Elio Trades tweet. There's a gym sitting there on the market at an eye-watering price set to explode during Defy Summer 2.0. And then you responded by saying super ? With a crazy emoji.
Yep.
So why did you not disclose that you had a vested interest in the coin that you were tweeting about? Super ? Yeah, we'll start there.
Well, I replied to a tweet, so I did tweet it out, and I think a lot of people.
Wait, you did tweet it out. You reply. This is such a weird distinction. You'll see multiple times he kind of.
Yeah, he's saying like, oh, I didn't actually have like a full post about it. It was a reply, but that's still a tweet. Like, people still see that on public platform. Like, you don't find that when you go look for it. No, they can show up.
It goes like, he'll engage with something that's not really the criticism. The criticism is, well, why did you just disclose you had tons of super? And you'll see he bends over backwards to not answer that question.
People, that are just getting second hands of the story think I literally tweet out, go buy super, go buy super.
That's not what people think.
The fund did hold some super.
I've seen what people have been saying since then. That's not what people are thinking.
And I just saw that was the owner of Super, the guy who made the coin. And I just went scrolling through Twitter, just replied Super to his tweet. I did not tell people to buy Super.
Wait, no, stop. So first of all, does not answer the question of like, why didn't you disclose it? Such an obvious disclosure. He set up, okay, like, first of all, let's back up. Jimmy set up the Super pre-sale thing. That is such.
Yeah, when you're talking about a thing that you have stake in and you don't tell people that you have stake in it, but you're still talking about it, like, it's still bad. That's bad.
Such a big deal. In his whole thing about like, oh, I barely had anything to do with the fund. The most profitable trading decision this fund ever made was set up explicitly by MrBeast Jimmy Donaldson. Now he's saying like, oh, it was just the fund that held that. No. You set that up. You're the reason the fund held that. Okay? Then we have, I was just responding to a tweet. Well, what was that tweet that he was responding to? He goes, I didn't tell anyone to buy Super. The tweet that he responded to was, there's a gym on the market at eye-watering prices. No coin is mentioned. So they're basically saying like, there's this incredible play you could make on the market. And Jimmy's response to the guy he got in the pre-sale with is Super. And he doesn't disclose, one, that he set up a pre-sale and he's like in before anyone else, right? Millions of dollars he's in. Two, that his fund had been selling and continued to sell after that tweet. Like, the most irresponsible, even if you want to give him ultimate master benefit of the doubt.
Man, this really sucks that CoffeeZilla is doing all this work, all this meaningful work for nothing. Like, nobody's gonna care, nothing's gonna happen, I don't think, unless we find some like blatant wrongdoing, like some people got hurt in the process of this. Like, I don't think it's gonna amount to anything. I think MrBeast is just kind of back and there's nothing we can do about it.
Incredibly irresponsible, and there's no way that a single person did not see that, and multiple people, I'm sure, see the biggest influencer in the world talking about this, some great low-cap coin at eye-watering prices. He's responding this, and they don't see that as a buy signal from MrBeast. Again, of course, he didn't explicitly say that, and that's the kind of the fake criticism he's trying to engage with is something that nobody's saying, which is that he said, go buy Super. Like, you have to just be completely disconnected with the story to think anyone's saying that. We all know what he said, but he doesn't engage with this at all. And it's just so frustrating to see this. Like, this is his chance to kind of own it and say, hey, look, this was shady. I shouldn't have done this. I can even buy the fact that, maybe MrBeast had no idea his fund was selling, right? That's fine. You can say that. But you can't dodge the accusation like you should have disclosed it. You can't dodge the fact that you were involved, like directly involved with the Super pre-sale. So we'll let him keep talking here, but that is like undergirding this whole thing is, this complete dodge of the criticism when honestly you should just be honest and say, yes, it was shady. It was wrong. I shouldn't have done it.
Or anything. I just replied Super. And I know the next thing where people are going to go, but this was a planned coordinated thing. It wasn't. It's not like I'm on the phone with the people managing the crypto fund going, hey, I'm about to reply super to this tweet. Like,
again, I've never said that we have proof of that. We don't have proof either way. We just have to.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. When you're talking about something that you are invested in, talking highly of it on a public platform, and you're not disclosing that you own stake in it, then that's wrong. Shouldn't be doing that.
To take MrBeast at his word that he wouldn't do something like that. I do think there are other ways to do pump and dumps like this if you really want to. However, that is not the problem. The problem is you got in a coin early and you're putting out these publicly positive signals while your fund is selling. Whether you know it or not, that's just like so deeply wrong and unethical. So again, is it an illegal scam? No, I personally don't think so. I mean, I think we'd need more evidence for that. But is it shady, and should you take accountability for this? Like, obviously shady.
Accountability?
Yes.
Accountability. That's a word that I haven't heard in a long time.
And I don't feel like he is.
like I just was scrolling Twitter and I replied super, and like I highly doubt anyone bought it.
I literally, this drives me crazy, the fact he goes, I just said super, as if it's like without context, as if he doesn't know what he's responding super to. Like, that's so, I don't know, that drives me crazy.
Because they saw me reply super to a tweet. I mean, just to be honest.
What tweet were you replying super to? Huh? What was the tweet? You didn't want to say that? Look at Oompaville's face. He knows.
To what
So
tweet?
I didn't think too much of it. Obviously, though, in hindsight, I mean, I could see how people might think that is a weird look optically, and so like I wouldn't do it. But I mean,
It's not just, so first of all, we should give him credit here. He admits that it's bad, but he only admits that it's bad optically. He's like, yeah, it's like, if you look at it without context, like, yeah, like if it's bad optically, so I guess I wouldn't do it. No, it's just bad. Like, you should not be positively talking about coins that you have a financial stake in, because you set up that financial stake while you're selling, while your fund is selling, without disclosing it. Like, it's the most obvious stuff. This is influencer.
Yeah, he thinks he's doing self-promotion. That's how he probably justifies that to himself. Oh, you got to promote no matter what. And I think that's garbage too.
Ethics 101. We are not in the like senior levels of influencer ethics. This is the most basic thing. It is not just optically a problem, it is actually a problem.
I mean, I really don't think it's that malicious. Like, if I just
You don't think?
I think super is the next big thing. Go buy it. Super,
Yeah.
super, super. Like, I think this is a different conversation. That's the kind of stuff actual people do. You know what I mean? And like,
Actually, stupid people do. Most people who are trying to like pump coins know that they can get in trouble by going, go do this explicitly, buy. Instead, most people go like, eyeball emoji. Like, most people do like subtle stuff. This idea that people are like, the only way you can cross the line is by explicitly saying, go do this right now, sign in to chase.com and go to this thing. And, you know, of course there's levels to this stuff, but the idea that the only way it could be a problem is if you said explicitly, go buy, is just being willfully ignorant about how this stuff works in practice. Again, I'm not even saying that this was an explicit pump and dump. I don't think we have enough evidence for that. But we do have evidence that this is extremely shady. You are crossing some influencer ethics here. And like, as the guy who has such a clean image that's a children's channel, it's not like you're some edgy guy. You have this very, well, you know, this was kind of his, I don't know what people think of MrBeast now, but it is kind of his brand he's going for. And so, I don't know, I just would think that he would see this very much more clearly, and then that's what makes me think it's more of a dodge than anything. It's like, of all people.
Well, I mean, the kids that watch him, they don't care. They don't care that he's doing all this. They don't know nothing about cryptos. They don't know nothing about how the financial world works. They're not even going to be... They don't know even how to buy cryptos.
People should understand why you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, scammers.
So I just don't. Yeah. So it was just interesting too, because Coffee never said I was a scammer in his video. Yeah. You know,
That's true. That's true. I said it was shady. I did not say it was a he's a scammer.
somebody
Definitely could have led to a scam.
comments on it. Just 'cause,
Right.
you know, a lot of people just want to drive, you know, whatever. People who don't like me, like you said in the video, are not going to like me, and they're, you know, going to run with it. People who do like me are going to be like, oh, it was managed by fund, and Jimmy has answers for everything, which, I mean,
No, he doesn't. Wait, that's not what I
Yeah, and he's giving non-answers. I guess a non-answer is still an answer.
said. I said if you want to believe Mr. Beast, there are scapegoats at every turn, which I do believe is true. You can just believe that, you know, Jason Williams was in charge of everything. And I think that's probably somewhat true. Like, I think there's some truth to that, but not everything. That's the point, is like he was in charge of some of the stuff. Some of the stuff Mr. Beast set up. Some of the stuff Mr. Beast was involved in. And another thing we don't have any clarity on is like who else was in this fund. I've tried to ask so many people, including Jimmy, obviously, and have not gotten any transparency about this. The only names I've ever heard mentioned in the context of this fund was Mr. Beast, Jimmy, Jason Williams, and then Alex Becker for the Earn presale specifically. Like, not all the presales, just the Earn presale specifically. I have not heard a single other name mentioned in regards to this fund, period. So I'm just putting that out there. Doesn't mean that's the only people. From what I've seen, it seems like mostly Mr. Beast's money, mostly Mr. Beast's decisions in terms of if he decides he wants to go into something, it seems like that's what the fund does.
it's not excuses. I literally
Yeah, it seems like money laundering to me. That's what it seems like.
it was just a fund. I was not the one buying or selling or anything. You know what I mean? I had other people managing it.
Right.
So that's the honest answer. I just replied super, and, you know, I guess if I could go back in time, I'd just not reply. I mean, I didn't think it was a big deal when I did it.
Yeah, but now, I mean, obviously, with because crypto is changed massively in the last couple of years, so you could consider that a mistake at this point. Like, that's definitely
And another
Why the butt? Like, it's the most layup thing. Hey, Oompa even gives him kind of the out, which is that back in 2021, things were harder, like, which I don't personally agree with that part of it, but back in 21.
Yeah, he's trying to get him to say, hey, like, man, I made mistakes, I did this bad thing, but he will not admit that he did a bad thing. Oh, I hate people like that can't admit the wrongdoing. That's got to be somebody else's fault. Oh, I'm an idiot, so I let this guy handle it so I wouldn't do bad thing. And he did bad thing. Not me.
All you have to say is, yes. That's it. That's all you have to say. It was a mistake? Yes, it was a mistake. Instead, it's, yes, but.
So you could consider that a mistake at this point. Like, that's definitely,
yeah. And another little context point I think a lot of people are missing. A lot of people who do this kind of stuff do it on low volume coins that, like, you know, sell $100,000 a day. So it actually dramatically pumps it and blah, blah. Super is like the 100th biggest crypto coin out there. Super is like a legit coin. It's a legit project that's massive. Like, that tweet didn't move the needle for shit or anything.
All right. So what I hate about this is he just does this thing like, I'm not the worst person in the world. Like, he just keeps comparing himself to other people. And it's like, yeah, we even make that distinction multiple times. It's like, this is not the same as some other things, right? We are just asking for basic disclosures, basic ethics, like nothing that crazy.
Which makes you think, how's he running his businesses behind the scenes? Cutting corners, not admitting wrongdoing, blaming it on others. It's exactly how he's running his businesses. And that's how we got to this point.
I feel like when he compares himself, I'm just like, yeah, but, it's like me getting pulled over for a speeding ticket and going like, yeah, but your officer, like, some people go 100 miles an hour in this school zone. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You're still speeding. That doesn't... Like,
that's exactly what's going on in this situation.
Right? We're not even...
Good analogy.
I didn't even bring that into the conversation. Just answer the question instead of going like, yes, it was a mistake, but all these other people are way worse than me, but this and this and this and this, and I had nothing to do with it. I just feel like, just own up to it. It's fine. So we're going to now move on from this super thing to the other thing, which is Earn token. I think there's a a big miss here as well.
And then the final one, which this one's a lot more complicated and involves a lot of stuff. So I mean, maybe you would want to reconvene with like receipts or evidence or whatever. But it's the crypto charity stuff, Team C's Eternity.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, I mean that one. Eternity gave us NFTs to auction off for Team C's. Only one sold after like a day, I believe, and that was it. And then
That's
it
not
looks
true.
like the fund sold like 27 days later. A little bit of Eternity.
This was the craziest part of the interview, in my opinion. It's such a layup answer. Yes, I'm the charity guy. I'm expected to be held to high standards. Anything that makes me look like I'm abusing a charity is bad. So I feel really bad. I shouldn't have done it. No matter if the charity flopped, it was a big problem. Instead, he says, oh, we sold after the charity. The one NFT sold. Not true. Then he said, we only sold a few tokens. Also not true. They sold $2 million. And then on top of that, here's where you can actually see the dates of all this.
$2 million is a lot of fucking money. He doesn't realize that, though, because $2 million is like a drop of the hat. That's like what makes him a shorts video. It's $2 million. He doesn't understand what $2 million is.
This stuff, you can see the offer was made on November 2nd. Is that what he's referring to when he says, oh, we sold it? But because that's not actually true. The sale did not happen until December 23rd, 2021. After the fund sold. So this whole idea he's going to say multiple times where he's going to go, oh, we didn't sell anywhere near the charity time. First of all, that's not true. Second of all, it's just literally false, and NFT sold after the fact. So this whole defense of his is based on misinformation, which is the idea that the offer, the offer was made on November 2nd, but the actual transfer and sale date wasn't made until December 23rd, 2021. You can see the date here. It says bid 1 for this charity thing. And this is just such a basic thing that is just, I think, incredibly, it's just misinformation at this point, which is ironic because that's what MrBeast says he's, so against. But he downplays this whole thing.
That's what these crazy leftists who want to own the world do, man. That's what they do. That's what they think. That's how they act.
And I just feel like there's no need for this. Even if he's telling the truth, it doesn't matter because it's wrong anyways. But the fact is that the bid actually wasn't won until after the fund did sell. And again, and I'm going to play it for you again because just the way he frames this is so unbelievable. It wasn't a little bit of earn. It was $2 million, okay? Unless that's what we're saying is a little bit of money.
That is what he's saying is a little bit of money because he doesn't understand that most people don't even make $1 million in 10 years.
Just I casually sold $2 million, just a few tokens. But I'm going to let you guys listen to this again because I just found this unbelievable.
Eternity gave us NFTs to auction off for Team C's. Only one sold after a day, I believe, and that was it. And then, it looks like the fund sold like 27 days later. A little bit of Eternity.
A little bit. That's just crazy. That's crazy to say. Again, it's not even I even said in my video, I don't think this was some premeditated thing. It was a flop of a charity, so it would have been a disaster to do it that way anyways. But the fact you just can't even take that little bit of criticism that you're the charity guy, it looks like you're profiting during a charity, and that's just bad. Like, why do we have to downplay it so much? Just bizarre, honestly. We'll listen to the rest of this.
And that's kind of the full story. There's nothing nefarious there.
Yeah, it sold $2 million of the earn token.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously. It's like the most obvious comeback.
Yes, the fund did 20.
Oh, now there it is. There's the fund. Hey, the fund did. You know whose name is on Eternity? Not the fund. It's MrBeast. That's why the criticism is here. It's MrBeast the whole way.
Because MrBeast is just an insane liar. He's an insane liar, and we've known this for a long time. The people who don't watch him. Who's watching him? Why do people watch him? I actually know people who watch them, and it's ridiculous because they think the same things that I do, at least they say they do, and then they turn around and watch his videos. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
It wasn't Nick Rose, the CEO, going, hey guys, this rocket fund is investing in us. No. It's MrBeast. MrBeast is supporting this drop through his charity, Team C's. I cannot understand why we can't get to a basic, like, hey, I'm taking the L on this one.
27 days later, yes, after it. After
Not
the
after
NFT
it.
sold.
Before
Okay.
it. Before
Yeah,
it
that
sold.
seems. It seems like a lot. I don't know what the market cap was, but yeah. I just for this one, I feel like this is a valid criticism, and this doesn't make you like an evil scammer or anything. I don't believe.
Just the way Oompa said that, like, hey man, it's just a criticism. It's not even making you a scammer. Just this basic, can you take a little bit of responsibility here? And the
I don't think it
reaction
matters.
is unreal.
I don't think it matters. Nobody cares. Everybody hears MrBeast and they're like, well, he defended himself. That's it. MrBeast won. He's back. Ladies and gentlemen. They don't care. I didn't care either. I really don't care about any of this. Because I'm not stupid. And I'm not going to buy into all the things that MrBeast is selling.
It's like, even with a very charitable interpretation of his motivations while selling $2 million during a charity, right? There's not that many good ways to look at that. Even through the most charitable, ironically, lens, MrBeast does not, accept this. It's crazy.
I feel like this is one where the criticism is valid. It is a good example of philanthropy stuff that probably should have just been done differently, but at the same time, 2021 is like a huge area of gray for influencers with crypto access, and it's just, I don't know, it seems like a game that if you're a big influencer in 2021 or 2020 and you got into crypto at some point, you probably made some kind of mistake at some point.
Oh my gosh, the softest setup ever, easiest way to say yes. You just go, hey man, I'm not even calling you a scammer. I get it. But it does seem valid. You sold $2 million, right? But 2021 was a crazy time, different time, whatever. Watch how MrBeast responds to just the lightest pushback, the most basic, hey, just accept a little bit of criticism.
But as the charity guy, if your fund is privately making millions of dollars during a charity drop that your name is attached to, even if
so again, that I would say is
But-
fully correct. So the charity
He can't even take the little bit of criticism. He's like, no, not correct. Let's hear him out.
drop happened. One sold, the other ones weren't selling. No one cared. So there was no selling of NFTs to raise money for charity anywhere near where the fund was selling before or after.
Yes, it was. It was after. It sold that's just not correct. That's just not true.
People could technically still have bought those NFTs, but no one did because it just basically no one cared. So I just don't.
Honestly, this is so annoying. The way he does this, he goes like, oh, the charity was a flop, so it doesn't matter. And then you criticize him about Super, which was not a flop. And he goes, well, yeah, it's successful. What's the problem? What's the problem? It's so successful. So isn't that good, actually? If it's a flop, it doesn't matter, and it's not bad. If it's good, then actually maybe I was doing the right thing by by talking about it. It's crazy. Both ways. No valid.
Yeah, he thinks he can do no wrong. He thinks everybody else is against him. He thinks that he's top G. He thinks he's the big shit.
Criticism here.
I don't feel like that's a fair criticism. They gave.
I'm sorry I'm pausing so much. That is so unhinged to say. After the lightest pushback, hey, maybe this is a bit bad. Not even saying you're a scammer. 2021's a different time. Oh, that's not fair criticism. No, not fair criticism. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sorry to say, yes, it is. It was bad. You should feel bad. You don't feel bad, which is a problem. I think it's actually a huge problem. This is crazy. MrBeast is living in a bubble where he thinks, and I don't know, can you not just take basic accountability here? Nobody's even asking. No one's trying to lock you up here. Everyone's just asking for basic, hey, this was irresponsible. I shouldn't have done it. Just take the criticism.
I don't feel like that's a fair criticism. They gave Team C's some NFTs to raise money. One sold, no one cared, and then it just basically died. And then just under a month later, it looks like the fund sold some tokens, completely unrelated to all of this. So
how do we know that?
It's not like this. Where's a charity drop that was selling hundreds.
How is it completely unrelated though? Because that's what you were using the coins for, was it not? I don't understand what this is even for. Like, why was it even created? I thought it was created for the charity.
Hundreds of NFTs a day, and in the middle of all of it, they sold some earn tokens. It's like one NFT sold, raised money. The charity, sell just basically died. It's not going up. No one's buying it. No one ever buying it anymore. And almost a month later, it's sold. So, I mean, if anything...
Again, timeline is so important here. The bid was not given, sold, and the transfer didn't happen until after the sales. The charity was ongoing, and during that is when the fund sold. So this whole, dodge here is inaccurate.
It's not going up. No one's buying it. No one ever buying it anymore. And almost a month later, it's sold. So, I mean, if anything, it looks like the people in the fund were being cognizant of it and paused selling and waited till long after it ended to do it.
What? What is he talking about? Look, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going insane listening to this. Oh, it looks like my fund was actually responsible and waited till after the charity ended. It hadn't ended. They didn't wait. What are you talking about? And it's not the fund. Your name is on the website.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta calm down. This is...
Yeah, I think MrBeast is lying to cover his ass, or he doesn't know what he's talking about and is still lying to cover his ass. Either way, MrBeast is lying to cover his ass, and I think that people need to not be watching him. I think people need to stop buying his products. Stop letting your kids watch him. Stop letting your kids buy his products. Same with Logan Paul. Do you know these people? Do you realize who these people are? Like, stop. What are you doing?
Actually crazy. I so badly wish I had been here to to say something about this. This is mind-blowing. I mean, it's mind-blowing, and I appreciate Oompa kind of doing these follow-ups to get these answers, because earlier during the podcast, he kind of just doesn't really say any of this stuff, and here's where we're getting some actual answers, as unhinged as I believe they are.
You know what I mean? So I actually disagree. I don't think anything nefarious was done there, to be honest.
Okay, just to be clear though, you keep saying a couple coins, or you're downplaying it. It's $2 million of earned tokens. That's quite a bit. That's like a lot of money.
Of course. And obviously not all of it is mine. It's the fund.
Look.
What fund?
Look, even as he's agreeing with the criticism, he still downplays it. He goes, hey, it's $2 million, it's not a few funds. And then MrBeast goes, of course. Well, if you agree, then why did you say a few coins? He goes, of course, but it's not all my money, it's the funds. He cannot...
Yeah, he cannot admit that he did anything wrong. Even when he does, he's like, it's these other people too. These other people, it didn't just belong to me. I had nothing to do with it. Just always. And you know what that means when people say shit like that? It means they did all of it. They're always the problem. They're the one at the bottom of everything. MrBeast's name is on everything. The fund is his. The MrBeast, the whole thing is his. Everything is his. Everything that he's involved in is his, and he is lying. You lie about one thing, you lie about everything. So stop fucking lying.
Oh man. I don't know. We'll listen to that again. That's just crazy.
That's like a lot of money.
Of course. And obviously not all of it is mine. It's the fund. But it was also known that my fund was invested in it, and I was a part of the fund. So it's also not like it was hidden that we were invested in Earn. Like that was...
Again, MrBeast was disclosed. It was not the fund. It was MrBeast. MrBeast was in the Eternity thing. MrBeast set up the pre-sale for Super. MrBeast was saying that, oh, I like the cigarette CryptoPunks, whatever. I feel like there's no engagement with the actual real substance here. So, yeah, I just found this interview, at least from the crypto side, because that's really what I know about, very disappointing. I feel like...
I find it more than disappointing. I find it absolutely insane that this guy is still allowed to be on any platform. Out of all of the people that have been canceled over the years, We've suddenly stopped canceling people when they actually fucking need it. What is going on? Do I live in backwards land? Is this clown world? I think it fucking is.